This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Friday, the real Friday, May 16th, and today's pod is the best one yet. This is a T-Boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Yeah, you know what's not a T-Boy? Someone at the T-Boy studios spilled lasagna on my pants.
That tomato sauce doesn't come out easy, dude.
No, it does not. And it may have been me. Jack, 3 stories for today's show. What do we got on the pod?
For our first story, Dick's Sporting Goods is acquiring Foot Locker for over $2 billion.
But the real story here is the Palace of Sports.
For our second story, UnitedHealth's is the biggest health insurer company.
Check.
The biggest employer of doctors.
Double check.
And the biggest healthcare stock in America.
And yet, in the last month, it's fallen 50% on a wild investigation.
And our third and final story, we're gonna make it rain.
Make it rain!
Rainmaker is actually doing that, both literally and figuratively.
So we are looking at this cloud seeding startup because a cloud is a terrible thing to waste.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
What a mix of stories before the weekend.
It's Friday, the real Friday.
So Jack and I want to tell you about a new trend you may see this weekend.
Caviar.
Caviar.
Now, first of all, who decided I'm going to eat fish eggs?
Well, Jack, that person would be proud because caviar is now being served on everything. That's the news.
The new trend Nick and I are seeing is what we're calling caviar contrast.
Caviar, the most expensive topping there is being served on the cheapest food there is.
We're talking fish eggs on fast food.
We're talking salmon roe on Snickers bars.
That's why Rihanna posted a video of her eating caviar on her chicken nuggets.
Haley Bieber put caviar on her In-N-Out burger. Jack, there's a restaurant down the street called Sorrel. They're putting caviar on cheesecake.
That last one makes sense, actually.
Yeah, one actually kind of works.
Why is caviar popping off? Because caviar is actually cheaper than it's ever been.
Fish eggs are defying inflation, and it all began back in the pandemic.
Caviar companies couldn't sell to restaurants because of the lockdown.
So they dropped their prices and sold to people directly, no restaurant markup.
Plus, now China's selling caviar.
Oh, yeah.
Shocker, made in China caviar is half the
Which
price.
is why your buddy Timmy is now bumping caviar over at brunch.
So Yetis, look out for the caviar contrast craze.
Jack, is that a caviar on your Kit Kat bar?
No, but caviar is now served at Costco.
Okay.
For $50 an ounce.
Attention shoppers, Costco caviar deal over in aisle 6. That's Kirkland caviar.
I wouldn't even know what to do with caviar, to be honest with you. Do you eat it with like a really tiny spoon?
You actually do eat it with a really tiny spoon.
Oh, you do?
You're halfway there, Jack. You are halfway there. Yetis, let's hit our 3 stories.
Tiny eggs, tiny spoon.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Foot Locker, their stock jumped 80% because they're getting bought by Dick's Sporting Goods.
But we need to talk about the wildest thing in retail.
Is huge.
Dick's House of Sport.
It's huge. But Jack, I want to go full Carrie Bradshaw on you right now. But wow, what a year for shoes it has been.
First, Skechers got acquired last month for $9 billion.
That's right. The ultimate granddad shoe is now the 3rd biggest shoe brand on earth.
And 1 month later, we get this. Foot Locker got acquired by Dick's for $2.4 billion.
Foot Locker stock surged 80% because Dick's is paying 80% too much. I mean, 80% more than where Foot Locker stock was trading.
Dick's basically paid 80% over asking,
Yeah.
and investors weren't happy. Dick's stock fell yesterday.
And now, Jack, we should sprinkle on some context for all our shoe-loving besties out there. Foot Locker will still keep its brand.
So, you can still go to a Foot Locker, try on those Hoka shoes, and get dressed up by a man dressed like a referee.
And no, this new merch company will not be called Dick Locker like every analyst on Wall Street hoped for.
Grow up.
Yeah, come on.
Grow
guys.
up.
Come on. But Yetis, here's what Jack and I found most interesting. It's not Foot Locker we want to talk about. It's Dick's.
Because Dick's stock is up 600% in the past few years.
And Jack and I are sitting here wondering, how is Dick's defying Amazon, defying e-commerce, defying online shopping, and seeing their stock surge 600%?
They're doing it with their House of Sport. Because in the last few years, Dick's has invested in creating physical temples to athletics.
These are unprecedented, and they call them the House of Sport.
I've never been to one.
No.
I want to go there for my birthday.
I mean, Jack, these are superstores bigger than your entire college athletic department.
These Dick's stores include football fields, batting cages, rock climbing walls, soccer nets, and virtual driving ranges.
Okay, one of them we found even has an ice skating rink in the store.
Where are they parking that Zamboni?
I don't know, Jack. You need another store just to keep and maintain the Zambonis, man.
So it's less store, more like community center. I would take my boys to spend a few hours there on a cold Saturday in the winter.
There are actually recreational soccer leagues that are doing their entire league out of a Dick's Sporting Goods store, a House of Store.
And again, this place is huge. Nick, can you sprinkle on some context?
140,000 square feet is almost the size of the Kremlin.
What a hilarious comparison.
Like we said, this isn't a house of sport. This is a palace of sports.
But they're also expensive. The cost to build one of these House of Sport megastores is $15 million more than a typical Dick's Sporting Goods.
You know how much fuel those Zambonis use, by the way? So, Yeti's add it all up, and Jack and I got to ask, is splurging on these sports cathedrals a good investment?
My instinct is probably not.
But our takeaway is so yes. Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Dick's?
To quote Floyd Mayweather, scared money don't make money.
Scared money don't make money. Yeti's Lauren Hobart is the Dick's CEO, and honestly, we think she deserves a gold medal.
Because in the age of online shopping, who would build a physical store 3 times bigger than all your other physical stores?
Not just that, Jack. She built 21 of these stores. There are enough soccer fields now to host the World Cup at Dick's.
And in this economy, who's spending a total of $315 million on souped-up sports stores?
But get this, besties. Despite costing $15 million more to build each one of them, these stores pay for themselves.
In fact, they pay for themselves in the first year. According to the Wall Street Journal, these Dick's House of Sports bring in $21 million in extra revenue, leaving $6 million in extra profits per store.
That's right. Each House of Sports brings in double the revenue of a regular Dick's, making them positive ROI in 1 year.
Lauren and the Dick's team took a huge risk building out these Olympic-sized venues.
Well, Dick's got an ROI because scared money don't make money. For our second story, the biggest health insurer in America is dealing with a murder, a resignation, and now an investigation for fraud.
It's not just UnitedHealthcare.
No, it's not.
All healthcare stocks are sick right now.
Jack, I got a disease, and the only prescription is less cowbell?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that how that
We
goes?
have never seen a blue chip company fall so hard, so fast as UnitedHealthcare.
First, their insurance CEO was murdered by 27-year-old Luigi Mangione.
Then last month, the stock fell 22% in one day after it said it will not grow this year.
Okay, and then this week, their CEO resigned, citing vague, awkward personal reasons.
And then yesterday, the stock fell another 11% on the worst headline yet.
This is bad.
A criminal investigation.
Hey, Hulu, when are we getting the 6-part series on the fall of UnitedHealth?
Seriously, because according to the Wall Street Journal, the Department of Justice is investigating UnitedHealthcare for alleged Medicare fraud.
Ripping off the U.S. taxpayers. Yetis, here's the allegation which UnitedHealthcare denies.
When UnitedHealthcare bills Medicare for treatments it provides to seniors, it exaggerates.
Yeah, like United would say the patient had the flu when they really had a cold in order to get more money off that patient.
If you twisted your ankle, UnitedHealthcare would probably say you broke your ankle.
Hey, yeah, what's that thing on your thigh? Oh, UnitedHealthcare thinks that's a pretty big thing on your thigh.
Now, if this translates to criminal fraud charges, because they systemically overdiagnose, that could mean billions of losses or settlements for UnitedHealthcare.
Also, Jack, on top of that, isn't Congress trying to cut spending on Medicaid?
The latest draft of the bill suggests it is, Nick.
Which would trickle down to UnitedHealthcare's revenues.
So what we're saying is it's a crisis at UnitedHealthcare. 2 top executives are gone from those awful headlines we mentioned above.
And I'm sorry, Dr. Jack, can we please pause the pod for a second and just look at how huge UnitedHealthcare is?
It's the biggest health insurance company in America with 49 million insured patients.
United treats 1 out of 6 adults in America.
It's also the biggest employer of doctors. They got 130,000 doctors and clinicians on the payroll.
Including Dr. Doolittle, who, can talk to animals. Besties, the value of UnitedHealthcare has fallen in half in 1 month.
It used to be the most valuable company in all of healthcare. Now, they're probably getting kicked out of the Dow.
Forget Hulu making a documentary. We're definitely getting a podcast series on this, Jack.
And if it does well, it'll get greenlit to a Hulu documentary.
Exactly. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at UnitedHealth?
Hope you've stayed away from healthcare stocks because everyone's sick.
Yetis, the S&P 500 has doubled in the past 5 years, but healthcare stocks, they're only up a quarter as much.
The Vanguard Healthcare Index is up just 25% in the past 5 years, trailing the stock market's overall 105% gain.
Honestly, wherever you look, and Jack and I have been looking, healthcare is having problems.
Walgreens sold to a private equity firm last year for a price 90% lower than its peak valuation.
Rite Aid declared bankruptcy this month and is literally the worst retail experience I have ever seen, Jack.
Pharma stocks? Both Pfizer and Moderna are down 2/3 on all that vaccine blowback.
And then there's UnitedHealthcare.
It's interesting that healthcare in America is more expensive than it's ever been.
And yet, this is the case. Besties, healthcare is recession-proof. It's tariff-proof. Every human being needs it. And yet, all their stocks are down.
Hope you've stayed away from healthcare stocks because they're all looking sick.
Hey, Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, this is wild. Rainmaker just raised $25 million to control the weather and make it rain. Literally.
Because business models are like water. You gotta let them flow.
Now, Yetis, Jack and I would like to introduce you to a young man named Augustus Dorico.
This guy's definitely going to heaven.
Because he may be the most religiously trained human being we have ever heard of.
He studied under a Catholic priest, a Jewish Orthodox rabbi, a Sunni imam, and a Buddhist monk.
This guy isn't just close to God. He may think he is God because his startup controls the weather.
It's called Rainmaker.
Rainmaker.
They use cloud seeding technology that sounds very exciting because they fly a drone up into a cloud and cause that cloud to rain.
Yeah, and Jack and I should sprinkle on some context here. Some clouds don't rain.
And that's a shame if you really need it to rain.
Because also clouds, they get in the way of the sun. So if you're going to be there, you may as well rain a little bit.
Agreed. So cloud seeding basically sprinkles chemicals right up in those clouds to condense the moisture.
And that causes water in the cloud to become so heavy that it falls out of the cloud as rain or snow.
And this founder, Augustus Dorico, he was actually a Thiel Fellow. So he was paid $100,000 by the billionaire Peter Thiel to drop out of college and get into entrepreneurship.
And this is the news. Rainmaker has now raised over $30 million.
So they're making it rain both ways.
This is a deluge on demand startup.
But get this, Yetis. Rainmaking? Like kind of playing God? It's actually one of the oldest technologies we cover on the show.
And this is what Jack and I find fascinating. Despite being one of the oldest technologies, it still is not fully commercialized.
Rainmaking was invented in 1946, after World War II in Schenectady, New York.
Lovely Schenectady, where my dad is from.
And the inventor of cloud seeding, which is what it's technically called, is the brother of Kurt Vonnegut, the incredible author.
So add it all up, and we humans have had the ability, the technology to control the rain longer than we've had the technologies of the internet, the personal computer, or the Pop-Tart.
The New York Times wrote about cloud seeding 53 years ago with this headline: "The U.S. is using rainmaking as a weapon."
That's right, Jack. The Vietnam War, apparently we were secretly seeding clouds over North Vietnam.
To try to give our soldiers the advantage, although I think that backfired.
Well, today, China's government happens to be the largest cloud seeding operation on planet Earth.
And it's actually controlled by the government. It's like a government service.
It's the people's rain clouds over there.
So it's wild. This technology is basically unchanged for 80 years. And yet you don't hear of many cloud seeding businesses around.
That's right. Rainmaker is basically using the same chemical to make the clouds rain. They're using silver iodide.
The big difference with this startup is that they use drones.
Right.
So they can more specifically target a cloud more efficiently.
Also, they're using radar advancements to better predict where the clouds are actually moving to.
The result? Making rain is now more economically viable.
Rainmaker actually charges $50 an hour per cloud to make it rain.
So if Farmer Dan badly needs rain, Rainmaker will make sure no cloud goes wasted.
A business model that Jack and I call MAS, M-A-A-S, Monsoons as a Service.
And that leads to our takeaway.
So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Rainmaker?
Business models are like water. You gotta let them flow.
You gotta let them flow. So Yetis, on the Rainmaker website, they actually say their customers are farmers, because their rain helps save a soybean harvest.
But there's a number of ways that rain on demand can be commercialized.
Jack and I were brainstorming this. On the entertainment side, Hollywood, movies, they use weather for filming opportunities.
Hospitality. The ski industry could use artificial, natural snow to extend the season by a full month.
And Jack, not to get dark here, but remember what we just said about Vietnam, right?
Yeah, the DoD could become a customer of Rainmaker.
And eventually, Rainmaker could have a B2C business. They could start selling these clouds to consumers.
Slip and slide party. No hose needed.
What better party trick? Jack, one day you and I are going to go to a gender reveal that involves a cloud of rain coming out of it. And honestly, every rapper would buy this for a music video. Ludacris dropping $50K on Rainmaker.
For now, Rainmaker is early. They're focused on farmers.
But like water, you gotta let the business model flow. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us to head into the weekend, baby?
Dick's Sporting Goods acquired Foot Locker, but their house of sports is the real profit puppy.
Because as Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, taught us, scared money don't make money.
For our second story, UnitedHealth's is kind of scared money right now. They're down over 50% in 1 month on a hurricane of bad headlines.
You know what? Just about every stock in the healthcare industry has underperformed in the past 5 years. They're all a little bit sick.
And our third and final story is Rainmaker. They raised $30 million to make sure that cloud up there starts raining ASAP.
Because when it comes to business models, like water, you gotta let it flow.
But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, wild story. Hackers hacked Coinbase and then threatened to leak customer information unless they got paid $20 million.
It's a classic ransomware hack, but Coinbase has turned the tables on the bad guys.
Yeah, they're going on the offensive, and instead of paying the bad guys $20 million, Coinbase is offering a $20 million bounty.
So if you know who hacked Coinbase and you bring those men to justice, could be women, probably men.
Probably men.
Coinbase will pay you $20 million.
Yeah, Jack and I call this the Liam Neeson strategy.
Second, Apple just launched CarPlay Ultra. The entire car software is run by Apple.
And interestingly, they are starting with Aston Martin's, one of the most expensive car brands out there. So you can now see the speed, the AC, the heat, even the tire pressure through your phone, through your car.
Through the car. Yeah, through the car.
CarPlay. It's the only example Jack and I can find where Apple offers its software without controlling the hardware, the car.
Next up, Hyundais. They're all turning over their tech to Apple.
And finally, Disney Plus is going to license movies from DreamWorks Animation Studios.
That means Shrek can finally stream alongside Buzz and Woody.
And that means Madagascar can finally stream alongside Moana.
Peacock's not doing too well, so they're licensing out some of their best movies to their rival, Disney.
Side note, DreamWorks started as an anti-Disney company.
Jeffrey Katzenberg was pissed he wasn't named CEO of Disney, so he made Shrek to kind of ridicule Disney, actually.
And that is a story for another pod. Now, time for the best fact. Yeah, this one sent in by legendary Yeti Jason Geiger from over in Buffalo.
Push and play.
Hi, Guy from Buffalo here with the fizziest fact yet. Root beer or birch beer. Root beer is an old-fashioned soda popular nationwide. It's brewed from a blend of roots, barks like sassafras, birch trees, wintergreen, licorice. Birch beer, on the other hand, is mostly found in the Northeast and strictly made from parts of the birch tree. Technically, birch beers are root beers, but not all root beers are birch beers. Do not get me started on sarsaparilla.
Oh, sarsaparilla. No one should be able to spell sarsaparilla. That's an illegal word right there. Oh, wait. Now, Jack, are you going to reveal to us now about how you've probably never had any of these sodas?
Dude, I've never had any of these sodas. Although he had me at sassafras.
I think that still doesn't answer our question.
I had a fear for exotic sodas. I don't know what to tell you.
Never forget your first Dr. Pepper, Jack. Never forget your first Dr. P. Yetis, you looked fantastic all week. And because it is a fantastic Friday,
we're doing an AMA this Friday, today, on Instagram. So if you got questions for Nick and me, any questions, we'll answer them at TBOY Pod.
Yeah, last week someone asked us what they thought they should do if they have student debt but they want to start a family. Jack and I gave them our 4-quadrant solution.
So hit us up at TBOY Pod, ask us anything, Happy Friday, everybody.
Celebrate the wins. So many wins to celebrate, Jack, and we will see you Monday. And before we go, a happy birthday to Yeti Shreyas Wow over in Bangalore, who is opening up meetings like we open up the show. That's how you do it.
For our first story.
And Austin Frederick down in Chicago doing logistics is celebrating the best birthday yet. Austin, hope to see you at our live show in Chi-Town.
And happy birthday to Wyatt Lowe, who's joining a new team in Pasadena, California.
And Josh Swerdloff turning 28 over in Boston, just outside Boston, proudly stealing those T-Boy takeaways. And Josh, we want you to steal them.
Josh, that's what they're made for.
That's what they're for.
And happy 10th birthday to Greta Ransom in St. Paul, Minnesota. I have a niece named Greta. Greta, happy birthday.
It's a great name. And Ben McGurk and Michelle Crosdale are getting married in Cincinnati, Ohio. Guys, you'll look fantastic for the weekend.
Keep swiping. We know you met on a Hinge.
And Ethan and Elise Herzog are getting married tomorrow in Northfield, Minnesota. It's going to be the best day yet.
Congratulations to Lizzie and Ben Beckham, who just had little baby August join the family.
Layden, you're going to be a brilliant big older sister.
Happy 5-year anniversary to Kristen Cruz in Farmington Hills, Michigan.
And Cha Young, Kate, and Rachel are celebrating MBA graduations from NYU Stern. Congratulations, guys. The case studies are over. Promote these people.
And congratulations to Emily Harrison, who's graduating from Manhattanville University. This is Jack. I own stock of Moderna and Disney, and Nick and I both own stock of Apple and ETFs of the S&P 500.